Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and my goal is to have a thoughtful and intelligent conversation with you about some important issues in the black community. I think that one of the most important things happening right now, one of the most interesting things happening, is that there is a presidential election coming, which tends to cause a lot of controversy, particularly in our community. There's a lot of infighting that happens, a lot of civil wars that occur, a lot of chaos that happens even within families. And I kind of want to just sort of talk about this, hopefully in a way where it's civil, where we can still be loved and we can just agree to disagree sometimes and have healthy conversations. And so, anyway, as we get started, do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, let me know if you can hear me okay. Give me a quick yes in the chat if you can hear me all right. And also, I wanted to jump in and let you guys know that tomorrow night, we're doing Powernomics training in the Black Business School. Powernomics is a book written by Dr. Claude Anderson that helps us to understand Black economics. Powernomics training is free for anybody in the community. So if you'd like to be invited to Powernomics training, just text the word money to 87948. Text money to 87948. I'm a finance professor. I can also send you a free training I did that has been seen by probably close to 1 million people now that people love. And it's called How to Make Money Without Working. Okay. All right. So anyway, so how's everybody doing? I hope you're doing good. Let me know. Are you guys able to hear me okay? So here's what I wanted to kind of talk about. I want to give me a yes or no. How many of you are supporters of Kamala Harris running for president? Give me a yes if you are a supporter. It's okay. I support all people supporting what they want to support. So give me a yes if you're Team Kamala. I think that's perfectly fine. I respect that immensely. Okay, so give me a yes if you are, or actually give me a no if you're not Team Kamala. Give me a no if maybe you're Team Trump, or maybe you're independent. Maybe you're not voting for anybody, or maybe you're voting for an independent candidate. So let me know. I'd be curious to see. Okay, so I see Patricia says yes. Prometheus says no. Lex Lee says no. Negrito says rather be talking about Sandra Massey. Okay, here we go again. Come on, boys. Where's your live stream on 45? And his wife says TJ Edwards. That's a great point, TJ Edwards. Well, you know what? Here's the reason. If anybody ever wants to know why I don't talk about Trump on my platform or the Republicans, is because there's a difference between the Democrat and Republicans in my mind. One big difference is that the Democrats are the only party that almost acts like they expect me to vote for them. The Democrats are the only party where I've been told, if you don't vote for me, then you ain't black. The Democrats are the only party that gets 95% of the black vote. So if the Republicans are getting 90% of the black vote and not doing anything, that would be like giving somebody a paycheck and them not showing up to work. Do you understand? Let me know if you know the difference. There's a difference. So if I give you a paycheck and I say, hey, you work with me, or let's say I'm your client and I give you $50,000 to do a job for me, and you don't do the job, and then I come to your house. Pay attention now. I need y'all to follow me. Slow people might not get this, but but we're full of intelligent black people. So let's say I give you $50,000 and I say, hey, I need you to come here and fix my basement. And you don't do the job. And when I come to you and I say, hey, you didn't do the work I paid you for. I paid you this money and you didn't do the job. And then what if you say, well, what about the guy across the street? He didn't do no work on your house. How much work did he do? Well, the response I'm going to give you is I didn't give him any money. I did not pay him to do a job for me. I paid you. Now, if I paid him, I'd be at his house. But because I paid you, I expect you to do the job. Now, if you say, well, no, not only am I not going to do the job, but I need you to keep on paying me, I'm going to say, no, I'm either not going to pay anybody or I'm going to pay somebody different. And people who are too emotionally connected to politics are not going to understand that analogy. And the reason that you are overreacting right now is because you're having something called cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is when somebody says something that is so divergent from your pre-existing belief that your first reaction is just anger. Your first reaction is anger. And I understand that. I respect that. But the reality is that you can't poke holes in that analogy. That analogy it works perfectly. The Democratic Party gets the votes. If the Republicans are getting all the votes, you're damn right I'd be talking about the Republicans. I'd be saying, okay, we gave you all those votes. What are you doing for that vote? You owe us. You owe us something. That's something in Powernomics Dr. Claude Anderson refers to as quid pro quo. Quid pro quo means that you are supposed to get something for something. Quid pro quo means that when you give something, you should get something back. Now, maybe some of you feel like the Democrats give back an adequate amount of support for the votes we give them. Maybe you feel that the Democrats really have your back. The Democrats are doing things that you want. And again, for that reason, if that's why you're supporting them, then I support that completely. I don't tell anybody who to vote for, but I want to get away from this nonsense where people are going to get mad because I'm not doing what you're doing. We don't do voter suppression in here. We don't do voter intimidation in here. You do not have the right to suppress the vote of any other person. Every black person, give me a yes if you agree. Give me a yes if you agree that every black person has the right to vote for whoever they want to vote for. Now, would I invite Kamala to the show? The reason I would not invite Kamala to the show is for the same reason I would not invite Donald Trump. I had Robert Kennedy. He actually reached out and wanted to come on the show, and I told him, I said, I don't talk to politicians because I care about the black community, and I like talking to people who have solutions. So rather than talking to politicians who've shown consistently they don't give a damn about us, rather than talking to politicians who've allowed our communities to decay, rather than talking to politicians who've allowed our families to break into pieces, rather than talking to politicians where black wealth has not gone up one iota, not one iota under a Democrat or Republican administration, not one iota. Your ranking in wealth has been last. It was last in 1955. It is last in 2024. Why in the hell am I going to waste time talking to people who ain't solving the problem that I care about? Why would I do that? Why would I be talking to people who are simply here trying to manipulate me and get something from me and are trying to pimp me? I'm sorry, but some of y'all might be easily pimped, and I get it. Maybe fear has gotten you out of no idea, but that's not what happens here, cuz that's not how we operate up in this space. So anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. I want to show you. Look at this chart. Look at this chart, and I want you to tell me. Look at this chart right here. This is white wealth and black wealth. Let's start right there. Let's start there before we get into the whole Kamala and husband's conversation. Look at this chart. Do y'all see? Tell me, give me a yes if you see the chart on this screen. Look at this chart. The bottom rung on the very bottom is black wealth. The rung on the very top is white wealth. Now, I want you, this goes all the way back to 1955, before you had all the civil rights progress, alleged progress that you claim to have made, before all these wonderful things happened where you could send your kids to school with white people, and you could go work for white people, and you could go to the mall and give all your money to white people and stuff like that. Before this happened, black people were at the bottom when it came to wealth. Black wealth was less than 1/10 of white wealth. Now, I want you to tell me which administration, which Democrat or Republican administration did black wealth grow and close the gap with white wealth. You show me where this gap closed at all. You show me one place where any Democrat or any Republican got into office and suddenly made this gap reduce or disappear. You show me. Here's another chart. This is families with children, 2016. I want you to look here. White is the blue. Hispanic is the orange. Black is the little penny at the bottom that you can't even see. The left side is wealth. The other side is income. You tell me what I have to be excited about. You tell me why I should be doing a buck dance because somebody got into office. I don't see it. Maybe some people fall for the symbolism, but I don't. I look at substance. So if you want to know why I wouldn't want to talk to Kamala on this platform, it's nothing against her. It's the same reason I wouldn't want to talk to Trump, because I want to talk to people who care about us. I want to talk to people who can put us at the front of the line. So when Kamala says, it's not like I'm going to do something specific for black people. Y'all remember that? She said, it's not like I'm going to do something specific for black people. Well, every single day, I do specific things specifically for black people. I run something called the Black Business School, which is specifically designed specifically for black people. So we're not the same. They're not like us. They definitely not like me. Again, I wish her the best. I wish her well. I hope that she gets the job. I'd be happy for her. That's great. That's pretty cool, President. I mean, my God, that's got to be awesome. That's going to be great to brag about at your high school reunion, but that's not something that affects the people that I care about. And so here's let's dive into this topic a little more. Please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. And speaking of doing things specifically for black people, I do have something called Money in the Morning Economic Elevation Training. I have a PhD in finance, and every morning I train thousands and thousands and thousands of our people on the art of economic elevation, the art of financial consciousness, how money works, where the money's at, how to build wealth in your family, how to build generational legacies. That's what I do specifically for Black people every single day. If you'd like to join, the class is 100% free. You can bring your family, bring your kids. They need to learn about economics also. Just text the word morning to 87948. Text morning to 87948, or you can go to drboyceelevate.com if you live in another country. All right, so let's get back to this. All right, so give me a yes or no. Let's talk about Kamala and Dougie. Dougie is her husband. It's not Dougie Fresh. It's Doug Emhoff. And Dougie is not Black. Now, I don't know Dougie's specific ethnic origin. Maybe he's like part Italian or something like that. In fact, I'm gonna Google it just so we can like have some specifics on Dougie. So let me look at. I'm gonna look at it right now. What is Doug Emhoff's ethnicity? Okay, what is his ethnic background? Okay, his ethnic background. Give me 1 second. Okay, he is Jewish. Surprise! His grandparents were Jewish immigrants from Eastern Europe, and he was raised in a Jewish family in New York and New Jersey. How many of y'all wonder why I kind of reacted that way? How many of y'all kind of know why I wasn't surprised by that? I'm not nothing against that community at all. They are excellent wealth builders, but they also hoard a ton of power. Let's just be honest. Let's keep it honest. We know where the power is at in America. People want to pretend and act like it doesn't matter, but it does matter. So he happens to be a Jewish man. Again, nothing wrong with that though. I love the way they teach wealth to their children. I really think that's something you should study. I think Black folks, y'all can learn from that. But if you remember when Kamala gave a speech and she was speaking to Black people, she said, "Well, it's not like I'm gonna do something specifically for Black people." But when she spoke to AIPAC, the Israel lobby, she said, "Oh, here's what I'm gonna do specifically for y'all. Here's what I'm gonna do specifically for y'all." Now, what's the difference? If you want to know the difference between the two, the difference is that the AIPAC is not silly enough to think that politicians serve the voters. They're not silly enough to think that getting the most votes is the way to get a politician to work on your behalf. They understand that. They know, and in fact, they don't even have the votes. They know that population wise, they don't have the numbers. They know that money talks. They know that money talks. So the politicians don't serve the voters. The voters are a commodity. That is something that you can buy voters. Let me know if you understand what I'm saying. Like Kamala just raised $100 million. She's going to buy a whole bunch of votes with that $100 million. So think about this. Does it make sense for the politicians to serve the voters? Or does it make more sense for them to serve the people who give them the money to buy the votes? See, I can just tell you straight up, Black people, you've been playing the wrong political game. The political game is not a game of votes. It's not booties to the polls, souls to the polls, everybody show up and vote. Politics is a game of money. I am a finance professor. I have a PhD in this stuff, and I can tell you that the money drives America. The money, it's the money, it's the money. So Kamala has her husband, Dougie. Again, I understand why she married Dougie. If you really want to be president, you'd have to marry a Dougie. Ketanji Brown Jackson, who is on the Supreme Court, she does not have a Black husband either, because Black men don't typically have the kinds of access to white institutional power that the white men have. That's why in many cases, when you see Black women that rise to that level, it's usually there's usually some sort of marital connection. Now let's talk about this though. Let's talk about this idea of Kamala being married to a white man. First off, I'm going to say that if you have your little white husband or your white wife, don't think I'm making fun of you. I want to make that 100% clear. Give me a yes if you agree with me that, or if it's okay for people to marry who they want. I want to make sure we understand this, that I am not doing a Umar Johnson and trying to bash everybody who's married to somebody who's outside their race. That's not my job. I'm not here to talk about who you're having sex with gay, straight, white, Black. That is not something I'm interested in on a personal level. I do not care. I got people in my own family that I love very much who have spouses that are not Black. I have someone in my family that married a very nice white guy, and he's very respectful. He's a good man, and I do not dislike him because he's white. So get that Dr. Boyce's anti-white nonsense out of your brain. We don't have those conversations. You don't have to hate white people to love Black people. I want to make that clear. I have to make sure you understand that, because people, politics is full of propaganda. People will deliberately misinterpret your message to make it mean something that it's not. I don't care who you marry. I don't care who you're having sex with. So that's the first point I want to make on this. Now, here's what I want to also present to you, though. Anybody remember now? Right now, there's an interesting divide kind of happening in the black community. You have a lot of black women that are really Team Kamala 100%, especially the AKAs. My sister's an AKA. They're skiing like crazy, going berserk, excited about the possibility of an AKA being in the White House. I completely understand that. That is a power move. That is similar to the way Harvard University works very hard to put Harvard and Yale graduates on the Supreme Court, or putting Harvard graduates into the White House. It's a great power move, and it's an extraordinary victory for the AKAs, an extraordinary victory for black women who identify with Kamala, an extraordinary victory for HBCUs as well, to say we have a graduate of an HBCU in the White House. All these things are meaningful, and I completely respect all of that. Now, here's the issue. Here's what's interesting. Has anybody noticed that there are a lot of brothers, though? Not all black men, but there are a lot of brothers who just ain't feeling it. Give me a yes if you've noticed that. If you notice that there tend to be more black men who are saying, she ain't my candidate. I'm not with her. And in fact, there are some black men going as far as saying that they're actually team Donald Trump. Prominent rappers like 50 Cent and stuff like that, are not only anti-Kamala, but they're very pro-Trump. Anybody notice that? And what I found is this. I've noticed that lots of black men are deeply offended that so many black women are supporting Kamala. And there are lots of black women that are deeply offended by the black men who are supporting Trump. And it's not just offended by the fact they're supporting Trump, but it's the fact that they're anti-Kamala. And it's being interpreted as all these black men are beating up on a black woman, right? But here's what's interesting about this, right? So when I thought about this, when I observed this, and I kind of watched the behavior, I just sort of watch everybody's response to this. I would argue that the divide over Kamala and Trump is connected to and very similar to the divide between black men and black women in our community. I would argue that this civil war that these politicians have started between the black man and the black woman is not disconnected from the same civil war that's led to most of y'all having children without a father in the house. You got to make sure, you got to help me sit with me for a minute and try to understand this. Black men and black women have been butting heads for decades. Black men and black women can't keep a family together on average. I'm not saying everybody's messed up, but because some of y'all are making it work, but a lot of you are not. There's a lot of baby mama-ism in the black community, a lot of baby daddy-ism, a lot of, so many more black men are paying child support than there are living in the house with their own damn kids. And so this divide is, to me, indicative of the pre-existing ongoing gender war and battle for power between black men and black women. Black men and black women are in a power struggle, and it's reflected in this civil war being started by these interesting politicians who, oddly enough, don't give a shit about either one of y'all. Give me a yes or no. Let's try to agree on something before we get into whether you like Boyce or you don't like Boyce. It ain't about me. I want to see if we can find something we agree on. Give me a yes or no. Do you really think that any of the leading Democrats or any of the leading Republicans wake up every morning and say, my God, the black community is really struggling. How are we going to fix that? Give me a yes or no. What do you think? Do you really think that any Democrats or any Republicans wake up and say, oh my God, another young black male might get locked up today and that's going to destroy somebody's family? We got to fix that. Give me a yes or no. Do you think that there's any Republican that gets up and just says, man, black wealth, it's been incredibly low for decades, a couple of generations. We got to fix that. That has to be top priority. We got to make sure. I mean, all these black people are flipping to the Republican Party, so we got to make sure that we fix these issues. My God, Mr. President Trump. I was looking at the charts on black wealth, and I noticed that African Americans have been at the bottom since the 1950s, and so we as a Republican Party have to make it our agenda to go and fix the racial wealth gap. We got to write those reparations checks immediately, as quickly as we're going to write a check to Ukraine, or as quick as we write those checks to Israel. We got to write a check to the black community because we owe them. Do you think that the Republicans are thinking that? Do you think that the Democrats? Do you think, seriously, do you think that Biden and Kamala, two people who, by the way, are notorious for how many black men they put in prison, that's stopping them? You might want to act like that didn't happen, but it did. Do you really think that they're waking up really thinking about the devastation of black families when neither one of them even have a black family? I really, do you really think? I mean, do you think that they care? Do you think that they care that your kids are growing up without a daddy? Do you think that they care that your son might get shot tomorrow? Do you think that they care about the economic challenges of the black community? Do you think that they care about the fact that our children are last in education? Do you think that they're really waking up saying we got to specifically do things for black people in order to fix the community? Do you think that that's happening? Because if you do, I hate to tell you this, I hate to say this, but you are a damn sucker. If you think that that's the case, if your lie goes so deep that you got to just make stuff up, build a whole fantasy around a bunch of nonsense, then I feel bad for you because you're a sucker. What you're doing is you are voting for symbolism, right? You like the symbolism of seeing, let's say seeing a black woman in the White House. And nothing wrong with that. That's cool. Or let's be clear, let's be specific. A Jamaican woman of Indian heritage. So her mama's Indian, her daddy's Jamaican. She's not African American. I think that that's important to state without necessarily being a hater. Stating that does not make you a hater. It just makes you a realist. It makes you factual. And in reality, here's one reality that I think is really important to consider in this election that nobody talks about is that if Kamala Harris had been an African American, a black girl born on the south side of Chicago with slave roots, and a black husband, also born in East St. Louis, who cares about the black community, she would not be in the position that she's in. There's a reason she married Dougie, the Jewish guy, who happens to be a high-powered lawyer with many, many connections. That this makes a difference when you talk about walking into the halls of white power. That's what you have to do. That's the trade-off that has to be made. And it's not one that I'm here to make fun of. I'm not here to tell her who she's supposed to have sex with or who she's supposed to marry. That's not my job. I'm just here trying to state the facts. I'm trying to help y'all understand how this game is played so we won't live in a fantasy world. And so anyway, as I move on, let me mention this then. Okay. So the interesting thing about Kamala and Dougie is I think Dougie is the right husband to help her do what she's got to do. I think she's the right husband for similar reasons that I understand why my wife, my little high yellow wife, who from Gary, Indiana, who's as black as can be. I apologized to her. I said, babe, I really honor you. I want to thank you. And I want to apologize to you for the fact that you had to marry me. And she said, well, what do you mean, Boyce? And I said, because it's hard for a black woman to choose a black man. It's really hard. I said, look, if you were trying to become a president of the United States, I can't get you to the White House. In fact, when my wife married me and her colleagues Googled her husband, she suddenly went from being the safe Negro to being the dangerous Negro. She came in as the pretty light skinned PhD. She's one of the best, sharpest black women I've ever met. She when she started her PhD program, there were 5 black students, and the school was so racist that they pushed out the other 4. She's the only one who survived. She literally defended her dissertation while she was 8 months pregnant. That's how much of a badass my wife is. She's one of the few black female full professors in this country. Only about 10% of all PhDs become full professors, probably less than that, and only 1% of the society gets a PhD. So my wife is a badass. She deserves everything she gets, everything she earns. But when she married me, her institution, which has not hired a single African-American on their entire African-American male on their entire faculty, think about this. They have hundreds of professors. Not one of them is an African-American because African-Americans males are seen as dangerous. They started to treat her differently because she stood up for black men and she was committed to black men. So the hard part about being married to a black man, the reason that that's a tougher path, and I honor those of you who've taken that path, it's a tougher path because as black men, we can't give you what the white man got. I can't give my wife the White House. I can't make her chairman of General Motors. I can't give her access to Hollywood. Hollywood doesn't want people like me. Not only am I a black man, but I'm a straight black man. They don't want me around. So the reality is that if you're trying to become Kamala Harris, then you got to marry a Dougie. But for the black women who make the different choice, who make the choice to say, no, I'm 10 toes down in the black community. I just think that we have, as black men, we have to take the time to really honor those women because I know that that's a challenge for you. Because in fact, the trauma alone in the black community, the undiagnosed, untreated trauma is so high that affects our ability of our marriages and our relationships to even last. And when my wife gave me a trauma test, it's called the ACEs test. It stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. We had everybody in the Black Business School. We offered them the chance to take it because when we created our Black Financial Therapy department, and what I found was, to my surprise, that I was very high on the trauma scale. And my wife, who happens to be certified in trauma, helped me to. She showed me some resources. I read them, and she basically showed that traumatized people don't live as long as everybody else. Traumatized people have a harder time with relationships. Traumatized people have a harder time when it comes to decision making and health and mental and physical health, all marriages, all that stuff. So the reality is that really sticking to the Black community is really, really hard. That's what I'm saying. So it's much easier to go marry a Dougie, because Dougie can he can make you the CEO of a corporation. Maybe a Dougie can help you get to the White House. A Dougie can help you get into Hollywood. A Boyce cannot do that. So the reality is that I think that there's a difference between, and this is my point here. There's a difference if you talk about doing things specifically for Black people, which Kamala has stated that she will not do. She made that very clear, and I appreciate her honesty. She specifically said, I will not do, it's not like I'm going to do something specifically for Black people. I think that my wife marrying me as a Black man was her doing something specifically for Black people. And I'm just going to tell you like this. I think that it has a greater impact on the community than somebody sitting up in the white man's White House doing whatever they do in the White House. I'm not saying that it's not important. I'm not saying it's great, not great. I'm just saying I think it's important to know the difference. Because here's the deal. Look, I talk about investing all the time. I talk about investing, and most people make the mistake of thinking that when I talk about investing, I'm talking about money. I do talk about money, but one thing about investing that's very important to understand is that most wealth does not show up in the form of money. Most wealth is not financial wealth. Most of us make investments that we've made our whole lives that were not financial. When you invest your time into another person, that's an investment. When you invest your energy, when you invest your love, and so marriage is an investment. Marriage really is an investment. If you don't understand that, then go marry an asshole and get a divorce and lose all your wealth and and all your peace, and then you'll know what I'm talking about. Marriage really is an investment. So think about this. When you talk about something like marriage, and when somebody tells me that who a person marries doesn't matter, I challenge that notion by saying to you, I said, okay, so what if Barack Obama had not married Michelle? Or what if he divorced her and said, hey, I'm still the same Barack that you loved. It's just now I'm not married to Michelle anymore, but I'm married to Becky. I want everybody to meet Becky Obama. Do you think Black women would have loved Barack as much if he did not have Michelle by his side? So, again, for all the women that are mad at brothers and don't understand why they don't love Kamala as much as you do, would you have loved Barack Obama as much if Barack had said, I didn't marry Michelle. I dated Michelle. We had sex a few times, but I actually married Becky. Here's Becky Obama. We're like BB King, like Barack and Becky. It kind of has a ring to it, right? Do you think that Becky Obama on Barack's arm would have gotten the same love from Black women as the Barack Obama who stood 10 toes down with a Black woman and raised a Black family? What do y'all think? Let's be honest here. Let's be honest. Because a lot of people don't want to be honest. A lot of people want to say, well, I don't understand why Black women want to tear this Black woman down. Well, you gotta empathize and understand what brothers are saying. They're seeing a person who did make what is perceived to be the easy choice. You went to an HBCU, met thousands of Black men. You're a beautiful woman. I'm sure some of the brothers would have married you. Yeah, we know that there's brothers out there that don't want to get married, but there's a lot that do. I got married. There's a lot of Black men who do. But you wanted to marry Dougie because Dougie can make you into the vice president and that you are. So the plan is working perfectly, and I applaud the plan. But some of us can also see the plan very clearly. And if you see the plan, then you would say that a Black woman who marries a person who's not Black ain't built the same as the Black woman who marries a Black man. I don't care how many ways you want to slice and dice it. Just like Barack Obama ain't the same man that he would be if he married Becky Obama instead of Michelle. Stop lying. Stop pretending. Stop bullshitting. Just make your decision. I mean, who you support is who you support, but stop ridiculing people who don't make the same decision as you, and stop allowing something as stupid as the presidential election to divide your community. Stop letting them colonize you to the point where you literally ain't even talking to your own damn cousin, somebody who's loved you since birth. You won't talk to your cousin no more because they voted for Trump and you want to vote for Kamala. That's ignorant. That's ridiculous, because the same people when you're willing to go to battle and fight for them, they ain't fighting for you at all. They are not fighting for you. They're fighting for themselves. So you got to fight for yourself unless you want to see the next 50 years look like the previous 50 years in the Black community, where we are last in wealth, we're last in education, we're last in family structure, we are last in our communities are in shambles, violence everywhere, and you expect me to think that electing the right politician is going to change all that. It ain't going to change a damn thing. It's not. So get your little symbolism, but don't tell me that a turd is the same as a bowl of cereal. Those are two different things. So go get your little symbolic gold-plated turd, but you're not gonna tell me that that's a bowl of Fruit Loops. I'm not eating it. You can go eat shit, but not me. I'm not doing that. Let me keep going. Do me a favor. Please hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I do have a new book out. If you're interested, it's called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. You can go get a copy of the book at drboycebooks.com. It's basically 10 simple rules any family can follow to build generational wealth that lasts for the next 200 years. It's an Amazon bestseller. It's there's no other book like it. It's written specifically for Black people. So these are things that we do. So when I would go on different shows, the Breakfast Club, stuff like that, I've always been talking about Black people. I've been doing this for 25 years. I'm not going to stop because this is where my energy is best spent. So if you want to know why I don't let politicians come on my platform, the Kennedy guy wanted to reach out and I was like, why? That interview would bore me. And because I don't see where this is going to make a difference in the problems that we're trying to solve. But we are solving problems. We do something every year called the All Black National Convention, where we've networked with some of the greatest wealth builders in the world, the therapists, we've networked with the doctors, the mothers, the fathers, the people that really care. And this is where I believe our energy should be spent, on really solving our problems. So after you vote, whoever you pick, I hope you'll consider coming to the convention. We're going to meet in Chicago. The URL is allblacknationalconvention.com. We're going to meet this year in Chicago, Lombard, Illinois, to be precise, which is right outside of Chicago. It's a suburb right near the airport. And you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com if you want to check it out. It's a great energy, lots of intelligent Black people, lots of great families. We are solving problems. We're making progress because we I believe generally basic things that I don't think these politicians believe. Like, for example, I'm not going to argue all day about what they're teaching in the public schools, because I really don't like what any party is teaching in the public schools. I don't like the fact that the Republicans want to erase Black history. I don't like the fact that the Democrats want to talk all day about whether your kid is gay or not. Like, I don't want my teacher talking to my child about their sexuality and their gender and all that, and then telling me that I can't even get in on the conversation. And I also don't want you up here acting like slaves were unpaid immigrants or something. I forgot what they were trying to say. Like, that's silly to me. So why not have Black people educate Black children? Instead of giving us more Black jobs, how about you give us access to Black wealth? How about we get access to things that are Black owned? I don't want a Black job. I want some Black wealth up in this mug. I want to win. I want to succeed. And there's no evidence you can serve to me right now at any point that shows me that either political party has helped Black people to truly succeed, to truly grow, to truly evolve. At best, we just go into every election fired up, doing vote or die campaigns. If you don't vote for me, then you're gonna die. If you don't vote for me, you ain't Black. But nobody's signing a reparations check. Nobody is giving us access to capital. Nobody's letting us control our own destiny. We're up here just getting involved in other people's fight. We are literally giving other people power and somehow claiming it as our own. So I'm sorry, you can miss me with all that. I'm not going to get excited if your candidate wins the election. I'm just going to say, okay, good for you. Congratulations. What's that got to do with the price of tea in China? And nothing. It ain't going to change your life, not one bit, in my opinion. But hey, you can disagree with me on that. It's up to you. All right, so let's get back to Kamala and whether or not her having a white husband makes a difference, if it matters or not. And again, I reiterate, I'm not ridiculing who people choose to marry. I have people in my family who marry very nice white people, and as long as they're decent and respectful, then I don't get offended. I don't tell anybody in my family who they can sleep with. And so what I want to mention, just generally speaking, is that when you're talking about these identity politics related to marriage and all that stuff. I think that it's really essential for us, who no matter who we vote for, to just understand that yes, who you marry does make a difference. Who you marry makes a difference. Who you marry is a reflection of who you are. It does. It really does. Like for example, years ago before I married my wife, I told y'all straight up. I said one day I may get married, maybe I'm not. But if I get married, it's going to be a black woman. And the reason I felt like it needed to be a black woman is because I would not feel appropriate stepping in front of you with all this pro-black stuff if when it came to make my greatest investment of all time, the most important decision I'm ever going to make in my life, or definitely top 3, I then choose to divest from black women. How can I then say that I'm in it with you? How can I say I'm really in the struggle with you? How can I say that I'm really committed to you? If literally all my wealth is going to go to somebody who's not black. It literally, I mean, or that I don't think you're good enough for you to be my spouse. I'm going to go get Becky. I just personally think that who you marry does make a difference. I don't think I'd be the same man if I was sitting there talking to you and I had a wife who was not black. And so, again, it does not mean that there's something wrong with people who choose to marry outside their race. I don't think we have the right to judge that. But those who do marry in their race, who do say, when I make this investment, I'm going to invest in a black man, I'm going to invest in a black woman, those people deserve extra credit. Kamala Harris would deserve extra credit with me if her husband was a black man. That's an absolute fact. But here's another reality. America is a racist society. America has a racial divide unlike anything you can ever imagine. If Kamala walked up into the White House with her black ass husband, there's no way on this earth she will be running for president of the United States. If he becomes the first man, if Doug Emhoff becomes the first man, or whatever they call it, first gentleman, or whatever the hell they call it, if he becomes the first man in the White House or first gentleman, he would not be able to have that role if he were a black man. So the truth of the matter is that marriage does make a difference. And if you are a person who says, yeah, I like Kamala, but I'd like her more if she was married to a black man, I think that that's perfectly appropriate to say. And I think those of you who act like it doesn't matter, I just ask you to flip the gender. I ask you to consider, what if Barack Obama had showed up with Becky Obama? Would you have loved Barack as much if he was married to Becky? And I'm gonna say the answer is no, because I know tons of black women who love Barack more, who really loved him because of his wife, because of those black kids, because of Sasha and Malia and all that stuff. So don't tell me that race don't matter. It don't matter when you're looking at the black woman, but it does matter if it's a black man. That's a silly double standard. That's ridiculous. And also, I'm gonna just say this to you too. I really, again, without discrediting those who divest from the struggle, those who marry outside their race and kind of take the easier route. I no disrespect to them, but I'm going to say that those of you who stuck with a black man or with a black woman when you chose to finally build a family, I want to applaud you. I think you deserve extra credit. And the reason you deserve extra credit is because I know things are going to be harder for you because you made that choice. Again, when you marry black, you are dealing with generational trauma. When you marry black, you are dealing with double racism. I got to deal with the racism my wife gets, and she got to deal with the racism I get. If I'd married a white woman, I'd probably have more wealth in my family. If I'd married a white female, I'd probably have more opportunities. If I married a white female, maybe I could maybe that would be a nice signal that I was a safe Negro and I would get certain opportunities in society that I do not get by showing up with my black ass wife who's talking black ass stuff every single day of the week. And that's the reality. In politics, there's a lot of signaling that does occur. And one way that you signal, hey, I'm safe, I'm not like those other people, you can trust me, is by saying, hey, look at my spouse, look at who I chose to marry. And that is where the complication comes with the Kamala Harris, because while you can certainly say she's black, I mean, you can't take her Jamaican side away from her. She is Jamaican, and she did go to an HBCU. That ain't the same as being African American. I'm sorry. If Kamala Harris showed up as a card-carrying African American whose great-great-grandfather was a slave, she wouldn't even be let nowhere near the White House. So these very same people that you look up to, these very same people that you vote for and support in every election and think that they're your friends, they are not really your friends. They're not. If you pay attention, I really think it's very important. And we don't make this distinction because everybody's scared to do this. But I think it's very important to make the distinction between somebody who's really, truly foundationally black, family went through slavery, African American versus somebody who is ambiguously black, like a Barack Obama. Even Barack Obama is, he's a great guy. He's a smart man. He represented the country well, no question about that. But he ain't the same as a black man whose great 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 grandmama was a slave. Those are two different realities. Now, Michelle, on the other hand, Michelle Obama, I don't know her exact background, but I think her family does have slave origins. And if you notice, Michelle Obama either chose to not pursue the White House or was chosen to not pursue the White House. I can guarantee you that if Michelle Obama had tried to run for president, it would have been messy. I don't know if it would have worked. I know she's very popular. I know people love her, and I'm impressed by that. I think that's extraordinary. But there's a reason why her black consciousness won't even allow her to take that job, because she knows everything that comes with it. She knows the energy that she will be dropped into. She knows the types of people she would have to deal with. White American racism is a special breed of hatred. It's a special sort of breed of degradation. It's a special way that it's so insidious and so subtle, but yet it's still in your face, that it just literally just, you feel it. You can't even put your finger on it. But I can tell you like this, let me give you an example. I knew a white woman who was very nice to me when I was back at Indiana University, and I remember she was very nice, and she treated me just like a human being. And I remember that I was like, I don't know what it is, but there's some reason that I really like you as a person. And you're just such a nice person. And what I realized after I thought about it is I said, oh, I get it. I'm not used to white people being nice to me like this. I'm not used to white people treating me like I'm an equal. And then when I talked to her and found out about her background, I found out that she was born and raised in Europe. And that's why she didn't see black people as being different. America's racism is this undiagnosed, untreated psychological STD that affects millions of people, and we have not tried to deal with it. We're too scared to really deal with it in an honest way, and so it's infected the entire country. Even white folks who want to be your friend, still somehow there's something that happens where they start acting white, and they just have this issue with your blackness, and it's something that is just debilitating as hell for any black person who's decent and intelligent. I forgot who the brother was that said this. I should know his name. Is James Baldwin, I think, who basically said to be black and conscious is to be angry all the time. It's literally to just feel constantly frustrated, because this is a society that literally penalizes you for blackness the minute that you walk through the door. So this is one of the reasons why those black people who tend to rise up in the halls of power have to do a tremendous amount of code switching and racial signaling to show that I'm safe, to show that I'm not going to give you a hard time about what you've done to my people for the last 400 years, to show that, look, I'm not the black person who's going to show up and talk about reparations, to show that, look, I'm going to just let everything go and just be glad to be here. A lot of y'all don't know this. Did y'all know when Julianne Malveaux is a brilliant woman who has a PhD in economics from MIT. She should be invited to the table at every conversation about black economics, but they never invite her to the table because she's too honest. She's too black. They don't want people there that are too black, that are really going to advocate for the black community. They only want people at the table who are going to carry water to the black community. They only want people there who are going to serve the administration and get the black community to do what they tell them to do. That's what happens. That's why I stopped speaking to the Obama administration, because I started learning the game about 14 years ago, and they stopped calling me. I told them not to call anymore, because all they were doing was calling to tell me what Barack wanted black people to do and asking me to go deliver the message. And I said, I'm not delivering a message if I don't authentically believe that it's a message that's going to benefit black people. You got me all fucked up. We're not going in that direction. That's not the conversation we're going to have. I'm going to tell you what the black community wants, and you're going to take that back to them. You're not going to do it the other way around. But anyway, Dr. Julianne Malveaux, she had an interview with Barack Obama at one point, where because Julianne is an MIT grad and she's in certain circles, she had a friend of a friend who set her up with an interview with Barack. I think around 2010, or maybe even before then. Maybe it was when he was still running for president. I don't remember, but she came on this platform and talked about the interview, and it was really fascinating what she said. Let me tell you what Julianne said about her conversation, her interview with Barack Obama. She says that in the interview, she brought up the very natural, very logical topic of reparations. And she said, do you think African Americans deserve reparations for slavery? And she said that instantaneously, as soon as she brought that topic up, Barack immediately angrily turned and said, "This interview's over. Who set this up?" That's what she said. That's according to Julianne Malveaux. That's what she said. So again, this is not a knock on Barack, but it speaks to the trade-off that people of color that have any connection to the black community have to make in order to be in those halls of white power. That even saying the word reparations, even bringing it up, will get you in trouble. And that's why Kamala had to, when she was on the griot, she had to say, it's not like I'm gonna do something specific for black people. But she said that, but other groups, she said, I'll do things specifically for you. But yet when it comes to black people, like, we're not gonna do anything specific for black people. So so I don't understand why you're so caught up in all this politics. Maybe again, maybe it's the symbolism of it all. And I don't knock you for that, but I want you to really love yourself a little bit more than that. I want you to really understand how precious you are and how precious you were even before they started to acknowledge you. I really hope that you'll consider what I'm saying. You got to get past this self-esteem thing where somehow you think that because a white man sees you and sees your worth, that somehow that makes you worthy. There's nothing about white society seeing your worth that makes you more worthy than you were before. Seriously, if you have gold in your backyard and you don't, and you just think it's a bunch of dirty rocks and you don't pay any attention to the gold in your backyard, and somebody comes in the backyard and says, "Oh my God, look at this gold. It's so precious. It's so valuable. You're a wealthy person." And you say, "Oh my God, now I'm rich. I'm rich now because they saw the gold in my backyard." Follow me now. I hope you get what I'm saying. So now I'm rich because they just told me that my gold is valuable. Well, no, see, you're missing the damn point. You didn't become rich because they told you were rich. You were rich before they told you anything. You just didn't know it. You did not see your worth. You did not see your value. So I'm going to argue a point that I hope you'll consider this point. Again, I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. I'm not doing an anti-Kamala, anti-Trump. I'm not doing none of that because I don't care about all that. I want to make the point to you that you are worthy whether they recognize and acknowledge you or not. And the reason I don't let politicians come on my platform, I would not let Kamala come on. I would not allow Trump to come on. Not that they've asked, they haven't asked, but Kennedy did ask, and I told him no, thank you. It's because I do not see the value in talking to people who don't value us. We talk all day about equality, 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 equality. Well, if you really want equality, then how the hell are you going to value somebody that don't value you? How the hell am I going to respect you and you disrespect me, and I think that's okay? Do you understand what I'm saying? Why would you sit around and give your best to somebody who gives you nothing? I'm not giving you my time if you don't value me. If you don't value who I value, if you don't care nothing about my family, I don't care nothing about yours. These politicians take care of their own, and you need to start doing the same damn thing. Instead of walking around them like a bunch of groupies up their asses and they're just sitting there leaning on all the power that you're giving them, you need to realize that the power comes from you and your family. The value and the worth in your life comes from that black woman that's next to you. It comes from that black man that's standing by you. It comes from those cousins and siblings and children all around you. That's your value. That's who should matter. And I'll be damned if I'm going to ever agree with you fighting somebody who truly loves you because they chose to vote for a different white person than you did. That's crazy to me. That's absolutely crazy to me. So you want to know what I spend my time doing? You know, Kamala and Trump pretty much are not interested in doing anything specifically for black folks. Well, I spend my time doing things specifically for black folks. You know, just today I had a discussion with Asada Moore and Freddie Taylor from Urban Intellectuals and Black Math Geniuses. And that conversation to me was 100 times more valuable than having a conversation with any Democrat or Republican politician for one simple reason. These were two people who were brothers and sisters in arms with me, who are spending every hour of their lives doing something specifically for black folks. If you want to fix the black community, you need those people who are doing things specifically for black folks. A mother who's raising black children is doing something specifically for black folks. A father who's helping to head a household, he's doing something specifically for black folks. That person running that black-owned business is doing something specifically for black folks. That person who's educating black children is doing something specifically for black folks. Those medical doctors taking care of black people is doing something specifically for black folks. And these are the people that should be at the top of our priority list. But what's unfortunate is that because we hate ourselves so much and we don't value ourselves so much, we're always looking outside of ourselves for validation and also looking outside of ourselves to decide where we're going to place our attention. And because we place our attention and seek our validation with people who don't care anything about us, our communities fall apart. Our communities are left in shambles. Our families are broken unlike any other community on this earth. Our wealth is depleting and declining because you're giving your wealth away to other people. I hope that you understand what I'm saying. When you or every day you spend all that time at your little black job, your black children are being neglected and abandoned, and your black family's falling apart, and your black wealth is being depleted because you're paying all your black wealth to pay student loans to a big white university that you were grateful to have accept you. That's the reality. We don't pour into ourselves. We pour into other people. That's why you ain't got nothing to pour. That's why you're empty. Your bank account's empty. Your spirit's empty. Your families are empty. Your wealth is empty. Your legacies are empty because you're pouring into everybody else except for you. So once again, I want to close on this particular point. It's a very important point I want to make clear because people misinterpret you when you start talking pro-black. They start making things up and they define you as being dangerous. Oh Lord, it's a scary day when black people actually care about themselves more than they care about white folks because they're used to having us as their servants. I want to make this clear. If you are going to vote for Kamala, then do that. Show up, enjoy yourself. I hope you win. If you want to vote for Trump, please go do that. Good for you. If you want to vote for an independent candidate, go do that. Do what's best for you. If you want to vote for nobody, I support that too. I don't give a damn who you vote for. I don't care. But after you finish voting for other people, I need you to vote for yourself. I need you to vote for the black community. I need you to vote for the people that love you. I need you to stop, falling for the propaganda and understand that your previous existing strategy has not worked. There's no evidence you can give me that all this voting that we do is making a difference for our community on a significant level. I showed you all the chart. Black wealth is as bad. It's going down. It's going down. You would think that if what you're doing was working, you would think that your wealth would be going up. You would think that your families would be stronger. You think that your communities would be better. You think that your children would be getting better educated. They're not. They're not. After slavery, 98.5% of all black people work for a white person. In 2024, 98.5% of all black people work for a white person. So let's just be honest. You've been colonized. You've been colonized economically. You've been colonized politically. You've been colonized psychologically. And when you get colonized, and this happens all around the world, what the colonizer's goal is to do is to extract things from you and give you nothing in return. That's why you colonize. Why do you think the British went around the world colonizing different countries around the globe? Because they said they have resources. We can take things from them. We don't have to give them anything back. So when you are trained psychologically, when you have been psychologically manipulated to believe that it is your job to make sure that you vote for a candidate and you don't expect them to give you anything back, you have been colonized. That's what colonization is. Or when you have been trained to believe that when it comes to your money, you're supposed to be the consumer and never the producer, you have been colonized because the consumers lose, the producers make money. When you have been trained to do things like pay rent, work for white folks, and constantly coming in saving people who wouldn't save you. They wouldn't spit on you if you were on fire, but you saving them. And then you get online and say, black women saved the day again. That's not really a flex because ain't nobody gonna come save you. So why would you save somebody who ain't gonna come save you unless you have a self-esteem issue? That's very problematic. So anyway, I'm gonna finish up. That's all I got to say. I'm gonna say this. I think that this whole thing with Trump and Kamala, with the black men and black women disagreeing, I think that is nothing but an extension of the pre-existing gender war that is spilling into an even bigger civil war between black men and black women. There's always been this power struggle because they destroyed your families, and black women gained a lot of strength from that experience and a lot of power in the household. So now that black men are starting to use their voices again, black men are recovering from the Biden crime bill and the war on drugs and that whole era where so many men were being incarcerated and killed and everything else. Now you're starting to see just a power struggle where there are some black women who are not accustomed to black men using their voice. That's why, for example, when the last election happened and black men were going in their own direction, you had prominent black women positioned by the Democratic Party to insult black men on social media and to say that black men are this and black men are that, and blaming black men for the election results, when the reality is that it was just a matter of in some cases of black men demanding things like reparations that the politicians are not paying attention to. So the truth of the matter is that a lot of this election is it puts your community in danger of creating a real problem between black men and black women that's going to be very difficult to overcome. And if you are a complete sucker, you will fall for this. If you are a fool, then you're going to say, well, this is why black men ain't right. And this is why black women are crazy or whatever. If that's and that, and there's lots of people that do that. I see brothers that are getting passports saying, I'm done dealing with black women. And I see women who are saying, no, no, no. I love my Democrats and Joe Biden and all this other stuff. And these black men are just stupid. Right. And I hear all that. But the reality is that neither one of you are going to win, because at the end of the day, that is a standard divide and conquer tactic that's used by colonizers all around the world. They start civil wars in your community, and they're not there to deal with the fallout, because at the end of the day, they all gonna stick together. They all gonna stick together. They're gonna make sure they protect their power. So, for those of you that can love each other through this, I applaud you. I applaud your consciousness. Me and my wife, you ain't never gonna see me fight with my wife because she voted for a politician that I didn't vote for. That's not gonna happen. If I fight with my wife, it's gonna be over something that matters. It's not gonna be, well, my wife, she's stupid. She voted for Trump, and that no, not that she did, but I'm saying if she did, I would not ever argue with someone I love over who you voted for. So when I do have relatives that want to fight me over the fact that I didn't do what they did politically, I let them scream, let them yell, and then I say, you know, hey, I still love you anyway, and that's it. That's it. Because you ain't gonna come in my house and divide my house over your bullshit. Especially some shit that isn't gonna affect me at the end of the day. You're not gonna change my life. You're not gonna put food in my kids' mouths. You're not gonna help me pay this mortgage. You're not helping me to be successful financially. So you can come in here scaring me with things like Project 2025 and all that stuff. And I'm sorry, it didn't affect me, because every single election they always scare black people because black people stay scared. It's easier. Studies show, the research says that it's easier to get someone to vote for you by scaring them than it is to get them to vote for you by getting them to see the benefits of supporting you. It is easier to scare someone into activity, especially a traumatized group of people. So because black people have been so heavily traumatized, every single election, go look at the history. Every election, it's like vote or die. Anybody remember Vote or Die? Where Diddy was literally running around. And think about this, they're partnering with people like Diddy, who's raping people at the same time and doing all this other crazy stuff. These are their partners, right? So Diddy was running around telling everybody, if you don't vote, you're gonna die. How jacked up of a message is that? That is a terrible message. Vote or die? Are you serious right now? Like, you're really, really telling me that if I don't do what you tell me to do, I'm going to be dead. That is voter intimidation. That is voter fraud. That is voter suppression. That's what those things are. So it's not just the Republicans who do it. The Democrats do it too, because the Democrats are hip to the pimp game. They're hip to the pimp game because pimps operate with fear. They don't get you to be loyal out of love. They get you to be loyal because they scare you so badly that you pretty much feel like you have to do what they say. You ain't pimping me. You ain't pimping me. I survived 4 years of Trump. I could survive another 4. I don't look at it as like, oh my God, if Biden or Kamala gets elected or Trump gets elected, my life is going to be so bad. No, you know what makes a difference in my life? Me. What makes a difference in your life is you and what you choose to do. I'm gonna tell you like this. I've been alive for a decent amount of time now, and I've never met a white man who told me that I could not read a book. I'm serious. Maybe 200 years ago, yeah, you could get locked up for that. You can get killed for reading a book. But I don't meet white men anymore who tell me I can't read books. I've never met a white man who told me that I can't love my wife. I never met a white man who told me I can't take care of my damn kids. I have yet to meet the white man who told me that I cannot start a business or build wealth for my family. I just haven't met him yet. So this idea that somehow these other people have some remarkable impact on your life, whether it's Project 2025 or something else, I just cannot agree with you. I hear my Democrat and my Republican friends accusing the other of destroying democracy. I do. I hear my Democrat friends talk about Project 2025, which became the buzzword, the buzz phrase, the scary buzz phrase that everybody's using. And then my Republican friends talk about things like the censorship that was happening with social media, where the Democratic Party was taking down people's social media accounts because they were speaking on certain issues, killing their freedom of speech. They talk about all the laws about transgender kids, where you can't, if your kid's trans, they can't tell the parents or whatever. And so everybody accuses everybody of destroying democracy, and it's fine. I mean, again, everybody's using scare tactics because they know that these things work. And I'm just going to tell you that if you're living your life on the fear frequency, you'll never accomplish anything. If you live your life on a constant frequency of fear, you cannot thrive, you cannot succeed, you cannot be highly successful, because all you're doing is you're reacting to things other people are saying to you to trigger your trauma and make you scared. If you are constantly afraid and you're acting on fear, you will never live your fullest life. You will never reach your goals. You will never ever accomplish anything of significance. So I'm not living on the fear frequency. If you want me to vote for you, tell me why you're the best candidate. Don't tell me why I need to be afraid of the other guy, because some of us don't scare easily. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. I hope you guys have a great night. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. I maybe we'll bring this back up a little bit later. Tomorrow morning, speaking of doing things specifically for Black people, which we do every single day, I am teaching financial consciousness training every single morning. It's called Money in the Morning: The Art of Economic Elevation, and it's a free class to anybody that wants to join. In case you don't know my background, I'm a college professor. I taught finance at Syracuse University for many, many years. And if you want to get an invitation to Money in the Morning, as well as a free training I put together called How to Make Money Without Working, it's all about stock options, how to make money selling stock options. Just text the word money to 87948, and I'll send this to you. I did a training. It's been seen by about 1 million people, and it literally explains in a very clear and very specific way how selling stock options can generate better income than real estate. It can generate better income than whatever you make on your job. It can generate income that is consistent, that doesn't require any work, and a highly liquid investment that works extremely well. This is how I make my money. This is not a secret. This is something people on Wall Street do all the time, and I think that everybody should know how to do this, because I think these are the kinds of solutions I believe in. So if you'd like to get that training, it's totally free. I guarantee when you see it, it's going to knock your socks off and wow you. But it's not hocus pocus. I'm not a financial influencer. I'm a financial scientist. I'm a finance professor. So I cannot come and talk to you guys about things that are just hocus pocus and hope for the best. These are things that actually work. So feel free to text the word money to 87948. Not only will you get that free training, but you'll get some other free resources, like a list of AI stocks that I'm invested in, as well as an invitation to my free class, which I do every single day, 7 days a week, because I believe deeply. This is what I believe. If you ever want to know what Boyce believes, I want you to tell everybody this if they ask you about this. Boyce is not a Democrat. Boyce is not a Republican. Boyce ain't even halfway a damn independent. But Boyce, in every election, Boyce votes for Black people. In every election, Boyce pours into Black families. In every single day, Boyce pours into Black wealth. Boyce believes on a fundamental level that if we solve the economic problem, we can have the power of an APAC. We can have the power of all these groups that can get the politicians to dance, because they don't dance for votes. They dance for money, because the money is what is used to buy the votes. And that Black economics allows you not only to have the freedom that you deserve, but it then allows you to move through the world with the kind of grace, class, dignity, and power that our people deserve. You're not a sucker anymore. You're not getting kicked around anymore. People aren't trying to scare and traumatize you and manipulate you anymore. You actually have the ability to shape your own destiny. So no, I don't spend a lot of time talking about Black jobs. I'd rather talk about Black wealth. I'd rather talk about Black owned. I'd rather talk about Black families. I'd rather talk about Black institutions. And I want to talk about Black people. That's where our power is going to come from. And that's what I invest in. So that's what I believe. And so if anybody ever asks you, that's what you can tell them, because I think a lot of this is a bunch of crap. This crap doesn't work. We waste our time. We put all this energy into nonsense that only makes us dumb, blind, deaf, dumb, stupid, and backward. So I'm not going to fight you over Kamala Harris. I'm not going to fight you over Donald Trump, but I am going to fight you for black children, because that is our $1 trillion asset that we are wasting when we're spending time focused on people who are not focused on us. That's what it is. You have trillions of dollars in your backyard, trillions in wealth that you waste every year, trillions in opportunity that you throw out the window because you're too damn scared to do something different from what your massa and your overseer has been telling you to do. I'm not looking for a better boss. I'm not looking for a better pimp. I'm not looking for somebody to tell me that my black job is to serve them. I'm looking for real power. And those who are willing to go with me, I want to talk to y'all. Everybody else, we'll catch them in the next generation. So I'm out of here, guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you could, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe on your way out. Also, again, if you want to get that training, text the word money to 87948. And also, we're going to meet tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern for class. We do this 7 days a week, and I guarantee it's going to change your life. So bring your children, bring whoever you want to bring. It's free to the whole community. Love you guys. Have a good night. Thank you so much for listening. And hopefully I'll see you at the All Black National Convention. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. And there's millions of us around the world who are doing this. The revolution's already happening. It's just not televised, and I don't ever want it to be on TV. I just want us to start winning. So take care, everybody. Have a good night. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you 100%. I'll see you guys soon. Take care now. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.